Hi, welcome. Today we're going to be making a shamrock wreath or a shamrock snowflake, depending on how you want to look at it. We're going to go ahead and work through the one that's on the box folding template, and then we'll also go ahead and use the full-size version. Okay, so I already went ahead and cut out all four sides of the box folding template, and we're going to go ahead and put pattern side down. Match the opposite corners in order to fold along line 1. Then we're going to go ahead and match the two small points and fold along line 2. Then we're going to put pattern side down. We're going to use our fingernails to make a little crease. And then fold up the side along line 3. And then we're going to unfold 3. We're going to take the side that has the 2 ears and we're going to pull it up. We're going to use our fingernail to get a nice point down here as well. Try to keep those 2 ears together all the way along. Fold along line 4. Then we refold 3, and as we refold 3, we're going to need to recrease. So we're making that one go over 4 more layers. Okay. So then we're going to go ahead and start cutting out. This one is a fairly simple cutout. So I do suggest that when you cut out the center, you start down here. Rather than over here, because it's easy to cut all the way off if you come from this side. Just a little tip. Go ahead and cut that apart. This one also has a fun little center that you can experiment with later. Okay, and then I'm just going to go ahead and finish cutting out the shaded areas. This one's a nice simple pattern. If you want to do your shamrock different, it's kind of like putting 3 hearts together. So if you think of it that way, you can design your own shamrock, make it taller or skinnier, however you'd like it to be. Just keep in mind that it needs to touch on both sides of that triangle so that it all stays together. Okay, we're going to go ahead and open this up. A little bit of frayed edges there. The thicker paper, you do tend to get some kind of frayed edges. Takes a little bit more for the scissors to go through them. So there we go. And we're going to go ahead and open up the center. It's just a fun little snowflake. You could add more details to different pieces of it if you wanted to. And then we're actually going to go ahead today and I'm going to work this one on the freezer paper. The freezer paper has a shiny side and a dull side. I'm going to go ahead and start with the shiny side in the middle. I'm just taking the rectangle and I'm just matching up the adjacent sides. And then when I cut along this edge, I'll have a square, and I will also have already folded along my line 1. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and take the 2 small points and put those together. There we go. And then we're going to use our fingernail to help us get a crease. And we're going to take the side with the 2 ears, tuck those in, keep those together. and then we're going to refold 3. Okay, and I can see that I'm a little bit off, so I'm going to try that again. There we go. Just double check here. Just a little bit off in the center. Recrease that. There we go. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and we'll cut out the pattern. I usually like to leave the top portion of the pattern on, just this margin, just its extra space to help hold on the pattern with the paper clips. Sometimes people do like to use staples in the shaded areas, but I just find that that takes away my ability to experiment with the leftover pieces if I have staples in it. So just something for you to think about. Depends on what you want to do. If you just want to focus solely on the one snowflake, or if you're helping a child, especially who's working on their scissor skills, you might want to put a staple in. It will just keep it from moving around, and they might have a little bit more trouble with the paper clips getting in their way. So just something to think about. And I'm going to go ahead again and start here from the bottom. This is another good pattern to practice the transitions on. Just pause at the point, turn your scissors, and then continue cutting. And the reason I actually chose to do this one on freezer paper today is because I'm going to try to use this as a template for cutting out a shamrock wreath in some wool fabric to be used for applique. So that's why I'm doing this a little different. This shamrock is a fun one to do with like a coffee filter or something that you go ahead and you can drip paint on, watercolor on, and let it dry, of course, and then you'll have a nice fun green variety or whatever variety of colors that you've chosen. It just makes a fun snowflake or wreath. Okay, so there we go. And I'm actually a little surprised I don't have more definition here at the top. So this is just a little tip. If you're not completely happy with how it turned out, or if maybe it slid around a little bit while you were cutting, you can refold. I'm just going to do just a little bit more of a curve here in the center. Not a huge amount, just a little bit. I just think that little bit is going to make a difference. I do like it better now. That's just something for you as you're working and designing, something for you to think about. So there we go. And then I'm going to go ahead and experiment just a little bit with the center, just to kind of give you an idea of what could be done. I don't need to have this pattern on anymore. I'm just going to go ahead. And sometimes it is easier to experiment on these smaller pieces if you work on them while they're still attached to the larger piece, just so that you have somewhere to hold on to. This is something my kids taught me, is to always look and see what's in the recycle pile so that you don't miss out on any opportunities. see, I think we're just going to cut off just a little bit here on the center. You could decide to leave the center if you wanted. Let's go ahead and unfold this one so you can see. And then we'll just compare the two centers. So the one that was on the box template is smaller just because it needs to be shrunk down to fit onto the box template. And there we go. Thank you for watching. Okay, so now that we have the pattern cut out of the freezer paper, we're going to go ahead and iron it onto our wool. This is just a piece of reclaimed wool that I'm upcycling. You can tell that this side is the shiny side as opposed to the dull side. So we're going to make sure we have it shiny side down. And we're going to go ahead and just iron it on. Just going to gently make sure I get it all on here. Nice and flat first. It is repositionable if I needed to reposition, but I like how it is. So now I'm going to go ahead and take a little bit of time. So we'll just make sure that we have these all ironed on. And I'm not using any steam, but I am on my highest heat setting on my iron. Okay, we're going to go ahead and let that cool, and then we'll come back and cut it out. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and show you how I get to the central part in order to cut it out. I have a small pair of scissors, and what you need to do is find a spot where there is a fold, and you're just going to fold along that, and you're just going to make a little teeny snip right there at the point. Just enough to be able to get the scissors in, and then you can start cutting out along the edges of the wreath. Okay, so here we have the pattern all cut out, and as you can see, I just kept the center hole in case I wanted to use it in maybe a floral embroidery of some kind. And I can go ahead and take off this freezer paper and use it over again if I want, but I just wanted to show you how it turned out. Thank you for watching.